National Visions Within a Global Dialogue, Chapter 23. Today, an international culture that embraces fine arts, performing arts, and design spans across national boundaries, extending from rich design metropolises really to each and every corner of the globe. This growth has been spurred on by many factors. That includes graphic arts and technology, which makes professional typography and printing possible even in small cities and developing countries, and really the exponential growth of graphic design education. This chapter is a unique one because it covers so many cultures, and there really is no set of design style characteristics to identify these works. We start with post-war graphic design in the United Kingdom. Herbert Spencer and the design firm Pentagram are noted for their contributions to the international dialogue in graphic design. Spencer helped to renew graphic design after World War II through his writings, teaching, and practice. As editor and designer of the journal Typographica and author of Pioneers of Modern Typography, Spencer really informed the post-war generation about the accomplishments of early 20th century designers. This chapter discusses the design partnership Pentagram, focusing on the firm's formative years. So Pentagram began in London in 1962 as Fletcher, Forbes, Gill, and Crosby. Fletcher Forbes in 1965 after Gill left, and architect Theo Crosby became a partner. As additional partners joined the firm, the name was changed to Pentagram. By 1996, Pentagram had expanded to 17 partners, well beyond the number of partners implied by its name, and had really broadened its international presence to include 148 employees in London, Hong Kong, and in the American cities of New York, San Francisco, and Austin, Texas. The essence to the Pentagram approach to graphic design, especially in the early years, could be summarized with a thorough evaluation and understanding of the communications problem and the context in which the solution would appear, combined with a bit of British humor and a willingness to experiment. Next, this chapter covers the rise of Japanese design. After World War II, Japan's rise from defeat to become a leader in technology and manufacturing paralleled its emergence as a major center for graphic creativity. Graphic designers in Japan sought to maintain national traditions while incorporating international influences. In this poster for a tree planting campaign, the Japanese characters for tree, grove, and forest are repeated to form a forest. Japanese traditional crests and much post-war Japanese graphic design share direct frontal presentation of simplified images, symmetrical composition, and a refined use of line and space. The systematic organization and foundation of European constructivism, a major resource for the Japanese design movement, was curbed by that Japanese inclination toward intuitive problem solving, centered compositions, and the simple forms of the mon, or traditional family crests. Kamakura brought professionalism to graphic design by way of his own work, as well as through his leadership. He founded the Japan Advertising Club, and in 1960 established the Japan Design Center. As managing director of the center, he brought graphic designers and industry together. Kamakura's work is characterized by discipline, a thorough understanding of printing techniques, geometric complexity, and an awareness of the international typographic style, which you can see in his poster designs for the Osaka World Exposition. In 1958, Tadashi founded the Masuda Tadashi Design Institute and combined his interest in photographic illustration with his interest in the collaborative team approach, resulting in new ways of seeing and unexpected solutions. The work is characterized by the effective use of photography and color for communication, and a structure of fine ruled lines that contain typographic information. Iko Tanaka uses plane and shape as the nucleus for his work. During the 50s, he assimilated many of the Bauhaus design traditions, then opened Tanaka Design Studio in '63. Two underlying visual concepts in much of his work are grid structure and vibrant planes of color that explore warm-cool contrasts, close-valued color, and analogous color ranges. Traditional Japanese motifs, including landscape, theater, calligraphy, mass, and woodblock prints, are all reinvented in a modernist design idiom. After graduating from Tama University in 1968, Igarashi earned a graduate degree from the University of California at Los Angeles. When he got back to Japan, he opened his own design office in 1970. Much of his studio work is in trademark, corporate identity, environmental, and product design. By 1976, his experiments with alphabets drawn on isometric grids were attracting clients and international recognition. Yuko's work replaces the order and logic of constructivism with the restless vitality of Dada and a fascination with mass media, popular art, and comic books. His 6th International Biennial Exhibition of Prints in Tokyo poster combines a variety of techniques, showing the range of his uninhibited design vocabulary. Yuko's work was influenced less by constructivism and more by the lack of structure and expressive vitality of Dada. Fukuda's designs are disarmingly simple, as readable and immediate as a one-panel cartoon, yet they engage the viewer with their unexpected violations of spatial logic and universal order. His irresistible directness is seen in Victory, 1945. It was awarded first prize in an international competition for a poster. Playfulness and humor are a part of his work, and it's characterized by the contradictions of Dada and Surrealism. He communicates in a visual language of simple graphic forms. Koichi Sato's painting of a white tray, which he tilted so the blue-colored water filling it graduated toward one end, became an important inspiration for his evolution. He loves balancing opposites, traditional with futuristic, organic, mechanical, east with west, light with dark. He also writes haiku poetry. His graphic designs share the multiple levels of meaning and expression of deep emotion found in this traditional form. Auras and glowing luminosity are found in his work, bringing a metaphysical poetry to the printed page. Now we move to the Netherlands. The post-year wars in the Netherlands were a time of rebuilding the economy and restoring pre-war cultural and social life. A prevailing atmosphere of individuality and freedom of expression created a climate of innovation in Holland. As Dutch design evolved, two primary directions emerged. The first leaned toward modern design, a pragmatic constructivism that built on the Dutch traditions of the first half of the 20th century, including the influence of the De Stijl movement. The tendency in graphic design that was prevalent during this period was a vigorous expressionism, which pushed beyond the traditional values of harmony, unity, and order toward individual meaning and subjective expression. Here we see a poster and font by Wim Krauw, followed by some postal stamps for the PPT. Absolute simplicity gains expression through color gradation. This is the work of Bertinga, who worked at his father's printing firm near Amsterdam, where he established a small gallery and presented exhibitions of advanced art and graphic design. He designed the posters for these exhibitions based on a grid of 15 squares. In this poster for the PPT, he shows the man behind the design for the Dutch Post Service. A vibrant translucency is achieved by overprinting gray and blue on a halftone photograph, and it helps express the subject. Studio Dumbar, originally located in The Hague and now in Rotterdam, was founded by Gert Dumbar, and their projects range from experimental graphics for cultural clients to corporate identity projects like this one. In 1981, the PPT implemented its first visual identity system. They established rigorous design standards, except for certain items like stamps, unique publications, annual reports, and post office interiors. When PPT was privatized, Studio Dumbar received the commission to modify the identity system to signal the shift from governmental agency to private corporation. Architectural identification, vehicles, and signage were produced from guidelines in the identity manual, which we see on the right. The collaborative group Wild Plakken formed in 1977, and they chose clients who were actively working for meaningful political and social change. Their name, which means wild pasting or unauthorized bill posting, derives from the early 1980s when they illegally pasted posters throughout Amsterdam. The group believes a designer should accept clients and projects that reflect the designer's beliefs. Their work has addressed such issues as racism, the environment, abortion, women's rights, and gay rights. Included among their clients are trade unions, left-wing political parties, women's rights organizations, museums, and performing arts groups. They've inspired a generation of Dutch designers and influenced designers in other countries to push the limits of design. Here we see work by Red Oxenaar for Netherlands currency. They redesigned the 50 guilder and 250 guilder notes, and they're really quite beautiful. A rare aesthetic attainment and functional practicality enabled this currency to contribute to a sense of national identity. The Provo youth movement, which emerged in the Netherlands in the 1960s, rejected social conformity and emphasized individual freedom, providing fertile ground for new expressions in graphic design. Here we see a theater poster designed by Anton Beek. The image becomes a covert allusion to something not directly stated. It's disconcerting in its ambiguity. Hardworkin', a monthly design magazine, was launched in 1978 by a group of designers in Rotterdam. 2 years later, they established Hardworkin' Design. The group rejected styles and theories and sought subjective interpretation of the problem, emphasizing not just the message, but also the materials and methods. They designed audio-visual presentations, interior designs, lamps, and theater sets. Here we see covers for Hardworkin' magazine, where experimentation with images, printing techniques, and materials characterize their early work. In spite of globalization and instantaneous international communication, regional and national design traditions continue to inform design activities in many countries. Professionalism in graphic design continues to grow in the Middle East, Latin America, Asia, and parts of Africa. Let's take a quick look at the work of Luba Lukova. She was trained at the Academy of Fine Arts in Bulgaria, but then moved to the United States, where she's lived since 1981. Her work bluntly confronts social and political issues like war or conservation. On the left, a medley of weapons is used to construct a dove. And on the right, the message of water conservation is magnified by a barren lake bed that is in the shape of a dead fish. Stefan Sagmeister was born in Austria. He got his master's degree in New York and also opened an office there. His graphic design is characterized by an uncompromising directness. Here we see a poster for Lou Reed, and the singer's songs are written like graffiti on his face. The designs of Chip Kidd in New York for Alfred A. Knopf has created a revolution in book jacket design. Here we see two covers in one. This design reveals an X-ray when the dust jacket cover is removed. Now, Mexico has close to 11 million people who speak Spanish, as well as Mayan, Nahuatl, and other indigenous languages. European and pre-Columbian cultures are major resources for the Mexican vanguard movement. Here we see the work of Mexican-born Gabriela Rodriguez, who has worked on children's books, magazines, posters, and contemporary art catalogs. The Goya Posada poster on the right was for a cross-cultural exchange project between Mexico and Spain. The piece on the left is called "I Don't Need Legs If I Have Wings for Flying," and this was a quote by Frida Kahlo. A really compelling poster called "Reflections on the Book" by Alejandro Magallanes. He created this engaging poster using a book and chalk line drawing. And this is very typical of the conceptual thinking that he puts into his work. Brazilian designer Rico Lins is highly acclaimed for his pioneering work in graphic design and has even had solo shows at the Centre Pompidou in Paris and MoMA in New York. Here we see the co-founder of the Iranian design magazine Nishan, Mahid Abbasi, and he's a very influential figure in the Iranian design community. Take a look at the expressive type in this film poster by Reza Abedini. They showcase his training as both a painter and graphic designer. He often combines Persian with English or French, and his posters radiate grace and elegance, blending type and imagery. We'll end our cross-cultural journey with a powerful voice from Africa. Shaz Maviani Davies, called the gorilla of graphic design, has taken risks in his personal life to craft imagery for social change. His last 14 years in Zimbabwe, he saw the loss of freedom and lack of economic improvement promised by President Robert Mugabe. He originally produced his posters at personal expense till the United Nations adopted them. For more than 3 decades, his work has taken on issues of consumerism, health, nutrition, social responsibility, the environment, human rights, and politics. He left Zimbabwe for life in Boston in 2001 and is Africa's most known graphic designer.